What's going on, guys? This is the DeFi Crypto Alliance show where we're doing our best to be the bridge between our fellow real estate investors and entrepreneurs and the cryptocurrency world. We feel like crypto is the biggest opportunity over the next few years, and it's not even close. So welcome along on the journey. We're pumped to have you guys. We have an excellent guest on the show today. We'll jump into some of that stuff here in a little bit. But of course, Corey, take it away and intro our guest.
Absolutely. Corey Geary here in the beautiful country of Puerto Rico, where we're going to use cryptocurrency as a wealth creation tool and use real estate as a wealth preservation tool. And we feel like we are in the right place and right time with the right ecosystem where we could create legacy wealth, not only for us and our friends, but our families and generations beyond. So it's just an absolute blast to be with you guys, to be on this journey. I mean, it's just exciting times, as you guys probably all know. The whole ecosystem's got green candles. And today we got somebody who's really putting in the work. I mean, this guy is up there giving up time from his family, giving up time from his normal life to really go out there and push our ecosystem, make the world know what we have to offer and just the absolute wealth of information he's sharing with the world. We really appreciate that. Mr. RG3, thank you so much for coming on today. We always appreciate everything you do for the community. I mean, you work extremely hard. You're always, you always had your show going. You've always got the tour going on. You've been around since day one. I mean, I don't think you've ever missed a day where your show wasn't running. It's absolutely insane in what you do for the community. So thanks so much for being here, kind sir.
Well, ahoy and permission to come aboard. Thanks, guys. I appreciate the warm intro. I try and stay humble and just say, hey, look, I'm the guy that pushed the button first and turned the YouTube algorithm on and got the community jumping and pumping. And there's much better streamers and much more intelligent streamers out there like yourselves that are, moving this thing forward. I just want to be the guy in front holding the guide on, driving the flag up the hill and not stopping, because I know that's the one thing I have is you can't outwork me. You can't stop me. You're not going to get in my way. I'm going to keep moving this community forward because Hex is doing the same thing to crypto, and RH's ecosystem is charging up the hill. And if we're not in front of it, who is going to be there? So I want to be that guy. I want to be out there doing the good work and helping Richard out because he's not going to be the one to do it. He shouldn't do it. He can't do it. He built the things necessary for us as a community to go out and take to the world. So that's what we got to do, and through whatever means we can. And if that means getting out there in front of people and, talking to rooms first and then blowing it up to stadiums, then that's what I'm going to do. So that's where I'm at with it.
I love it, man. I love it. And, I would love to hear a little bit more about you, who RG3 is, your origin stories, who you came from, why you got into crypto in the first place. And then when you got into crypto, maybe some mistakes you made along the way, and then finding RH. I'd love to hear this, man. And some of our audience would love to also, as we have a lot of real estate guys who watch.
So I've told the story, a lot of times. But there's always somebody who hasn't heard it and doesn't understand, why this guy's out here talking to us. The reason I got into this is I live in Southern California. Very expensive to live out here. Hard to buy a house and have the American dream and all that. And back in the day, I became a millwright a little over 30 years ago, which is just a fancy name for somebody who picks up heavy shit and puts it down. That's all I really did. I built machines, and, got greasy, got grimy, threw chains, drove trucks, built heavy stuff. And, in doing that, I realized even as a young man, I was kind of an entrepreneur, always knew that that's where the real money was. Unfortunately in my situation, I became a street entrepreneur, where I grew up in Inglewood. And so I never really saw great success other than, the threat of being, thrown behind bars or that kind of stuff. But on the side of my millwright career, working 14-hour days, weekends, the whole thing, trying to keep mama at home to raise the kids because I wanted to do that whole thing, you know, and you give her the opportunity to do that, which, you know, to us as a family, it's been nothing but beneficial because my kids always had a mom there at home, you know, doing the things that they needed every day. So we had that symbiotic relationship where I went out and made the money. And unfortunately, in California, you got to have 2 jobs or you got to have 2 incomes coming in to have that dream,
Yeah.
you know? And so I was always on the side trying to hustle, trying to make something happen, you know, whether it was, you know, door-to-door sales, insurance business, network marketing, you know, global marketing of any type, you know, you name it, I was getting my hands in it. Started a software company that started supporting a game called Counter-Strike. And we were out there in the gaming world, you know, helping the clans put social medias together and doing all this cool software shit. And I wasn't the software guy, but I was the leader of it, and I had people in my team that were building all this stuff, and I was helping them market it, and we were getting it up off the ground. I funded it, and then it flopped because I was right at the .com bust, and we were trying to sell a piece of software to gamers when, you know, the .com boom was busting. And so it was tough, but in that world, I was in these old IIRC chat rooms where it was just DOS prompt where you're just texting each other, you know, hey, where's the next game? Here's the link. Here's where we're going to go play. The clan's going to be against this clan. So in those chat rooms, that was also where a lot of the Bitcoin forums and chats were going on too. And so we crossed over with a lot of the crypto guys, and they saw the business that we were building, and they would try and shill us. Guys like Brock Pierce were trying to shill in-game cryptocurrencies at the time. I mean, that's how that guy made all his money. And so we were being pitched in-game cryptocurrencies for our platform and blah, blah, blah. And we didn't think much of it. We're like, oh yeah, it's a great gimmick, whatever. People buy skins and all that stuff, which are to modern day today NFTs. So all this stuff was going on in 2008, 2009. And, you know, everything was crashing, lost my job, lost my business. But there were these Bitcoin people in there, and we saw it, didn't pay much attention to it. And about, I don't know, I'd say years down the road as things were moving, about 2014, and I didn't pay attention to it. Somebody asked for some Bitcoin for some software we were trying to, you know, work on. And I went and made the wallet and got the Bitcoin, and, you know, there was no Ethereum at that time. It was just Bitcoin, and sent the guy the Bitcoin, and there was about $35 worth of Bitcoin left in there. And then, you know, down the road, and somebody else asked me for some months later in 2015 somewhere. And I opened the wallet to go put some more in it, and there was like $800 in there. And at that point, I was like, "What? Wait, wait, wait. Whoa." And so that's when I pulled up the browser, started tapping on Google, and before I knew it, I was on a 72-hour bender where I wasn't sleeping. I was reading the white paper. I was reading everything about cryptocurrency. I was all over YouTube, watching everything I could, and I couldn't sleep. And I was just like, you know, cypherpunked out, man. I was like, I'm in this to win this. These guys got it. They get it. And so I dove in to crypto with a very, very modest amount of money, you know, just, you know, hey, this is Vegas money right here. This is not, you know, I'm pulling out of my life savings. I believed in the thing, but I was smart enough to know that, you know, hey, all of these things can scam out, because I was in the network marketing business for a long time. And I saw, you know, hardworking people kind of get screwed when a company went belly up or couldn't support it anymore or whatever. So I went into it, and then all, you know, 15, 16, I started learning. It's just in the slimiest of slimy back alley telegram rooms, pump and dumps, the pump and dump behind the pump and dump, the 4 guys that really know what's going on room, you know, the pump and dump room. And then all of this real bullshitty kind of trader weird shit that was going on, you know, hey, getting 96% more coins if you come in early investor and ICO on this one, and boom, 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 boom. And then we're going to dump it on this day. And I seen all that shit, man. And I was really disheartened and discouraged with the space. And then 2017 came, and everything. Yeah, I mean, you could throw a dart at a board and hit a crypto and it goes up, right? So everything was moving,
Right.
everything was mooning. We're all doing good. I made a trade with, I got this coin called Verge, and the thing just freaking mooned, and you know, and got diversified into all the cryptos out there that I wanted, and then my bag was big. You know, I was like, yes, here we go, this is it. And then at the end of 2017, 20K Christmas, one of the YouTubers that I had kind of come across and subscribed to, with a top hat on, Richard Hart, said, hey guys, I got some news for you. It's all over with. Here comes the freaking pain. Your crypto bull run is over. See you in 3 years. And I was like, freaking clown, click off. And then the next day, the very next day,
Red pills.
head and shoulders, right? It just went down, 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 down. That was the big crash. And I was pissed. And I was like, that fucking guy, what an asshole, man. I hated Richard Hart. I thought he was really a freaking idiot, you know. And then,
did you take any profits during that time frame? Did you take anything?
Oh fuck no, man! No, I was ride or die, baby. We were taking that thing to the top. We were going to 50K, right? And so, you know, the first day of pain, you know, you're sitting there sulking, and I had a cousin who wasn't into crypto. I was the crypto guy, right? And I had a cousin, and he got in, and like literally like a week or two before the crash, he's like, I'm cashing out, man. I'm done with this crypto thing. I'm going to go get me a backyard, and, you know, I'm good. So he cashed out and got a backyard and a swimming pool in Tennessee where he's at, and all this, just beautiful. And of course my wife sees that, you know, it's all over Facebook, cashed out of crypto. And then here's RG fucking holding his deflated bags. Right. And so I never lived that one down. Imagine from 17 until like 21, my wife just was like looking at her backyard and the dirt and everything and going, could have been back there. You know, so that was my life after that. But the one thing happened after I was sulked for a day or so. I slapped myself in the face and said, dude, that Richard Hart guy that you're pissed off at the market and what happened and your dumb ass for holding the bags that you held. You're not mad at that guy. That guy called the top. Wait a second. He did what? He called the top? You might want to go back and watch everything that dude's ever said and see what the hell was going on with him and see where he's coming from, because that guy either got really, really lucky or he nailed it and he knows some shit. So I went back and I had seen a couple of his like top hat videos and I was like, not interested. This guy giving freaking, you know, life advice. No. So I went all the way back to the beginning and started watching his stuff and got involved in more of his Telegram rooms. And I'm like, well, wait a second. This guy really is the real deal. And I started getting a feeling like this guy really wants to change this space. This guy feels like I do. This guy may be smart enough to, you know, predict what's going to be happening in the future here or do something in this space. So I said, okay, I'm going to keep watching him. So subscribed and hung on everything that ever came out. So he'd come out with something, I'd watch it. And then he
was a Bitcoin maxi then. Is that correct?
Yeah, he was a Bitcoin maxi. He had been bashing Ethereum. But he was bashing Ethereum because everything that was coming out on Ethereum was breaking, was not working. And then as we watched Richard, he decided and discovered that, hey, look, it's not Ethereum and Solidity that's broken. It's the guys that are programming it. They're programming it wrong. They're using Solidity to try and build these things, but they're building them wrong. They're fucking them up. And it's not Ethereum that's fucked up. It's these guys. So he changed his opinion on Ethereum and then started talking about Ethereum versus Bitcoin. And of course, by that time, he was already saying, hey, I'm going to come out with my own cryptocurrency. I'm going to do my own thing. Since the industry won't fix it, I'll fix it. And then he came out with that Fluid Dynamics coin or whatever. and it was like, it was way over my head. I didn't get that shit. I'm like, oh fuck, brain stuff. These guys are, basement dwelling nerd shit. These guys are going to figure this out. Maybe I'll just buy some later or whatever, just to buy it, even though I don't get it. And then that morphed, and he said, well, I got this Bitcoin Hex thing now that I'm going to be, talking about and working on, and it's going to be this, and that. And I was like, oh, wait, what? Wait, no custody? Wait, what? Immutable? Wait, what? You're going to get it audited? What? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. And then, so that sparked back the whole thing from that 72 hours in Bitcoin. I was now excited about crypto because I was literally ready to get out. I was literally like, okay, I'm just going to cut my losses, walk with the little bit I got here and go, and just get out of this. This thing is just a scam. It's a sham. It's too bad. It could have been something good. But then I was revitalized and I had more hope again that, okay, this might be the thing that, I was feeling before, because I've always wanted to go out and do some good and change the world and let money or my family's wealth be the byproduct of the good work that I'm doing for everybody else out there. I think that that's the best way to become wealthy, is go out and fulfill yourself by helping others and helping the world. And in turn, you get paid for that. And this looked like that vehicle at that point, because I thought crypto was a vehicle, found out it wasn't. And then I said, well, this guy might fix crypto, because they were always talking, fix the money, fix the world, fix the money, fix the world. And I was thinking, well, you got to unfuck crypto first before you can fix the money, before you can fix the world. So fix crypto, guys. And that's what Richard Hart did, in my opinion. So that's why I dove in with both feet, watched everything these guys were doing, saw how absolutely brilliant the Telegram rooms were. Like everybody in the hex.com Telegram room, all of those admins, everybody that worked in there on a regular basis, talking and chatting and understanding Hex and learning about Hex. Those guys were just, to me, they were the smartest people I'd ever seen in crypto, because I'd been in a lot of these chat rooms. I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos, and everybody was just faking the funk and blowing smoke up people's skirts. But those guys in that hex.com chat room, that was brilliant. And I mean, some of those guys don't even come out of there and see the light of day, come on Twitter or YouTube or any of that. If you want to know who the real smart OGs are that taught all of us, that you go into that hex.com chat room and see some of the admins that are in there and pose questions to them and see some of the old stuff that they wrote. That's where the brilliance is right there. And so, I wanted to get involved in some way and expose that, because I know that Telegram, those rooms are a very small microcosm of microcosms, because crypto's a very small space. The Hex community is an even smaller space. And then the Telegram chat room is an even smaller space within our ecosystem. So I decided that I wanted to expose that through YouTube. And that's why I created Discourse Syndicate and just opened it up to anybody. Like, hey, here's the link. Like, nobody does that. What idiot just puts the link to their video stream out there in public? And that was me. I just said, let's see who comes, and the best of the best Hexicans came and wanted to expose themselves on YouTube, and started their own channels, Cabana, Maddie, Wales, Kinetics joined us, and all of these streamers that are out there today, most of them came from Discourse Syndicate, from the first streams that we did, and that's what I wanted. That's what I wanted to create. And then, as time went on, more opportunities, more things came to our plate. We built the Hex Investment Trust, which is basically grayscale for Hex, me and Kinetics in Wales. And then we created MCA, Mountain Crypto Advisors, which is a small family shop that helps crypto investors mitigate their taxes and also create asset protections, DApps, CRUTs, and livable or revocable and living will trusts. So we've created these things, built these things. And then on top of it all, somebody came to us and said, hey, we want to make a movie about the community. Would you guys produce it? Let us put it together. And so we made a movie. They asked me to be in it, so I was in it. So now we've done all of these things, and now We know that we've got the tiger by the tail with Richard launching Pulse and Pulsex. That now it's time for us to go out and deliver DeFi to the rest of the globe. And the way I think that we're going to do that is through in-person contact. First we're going to fill up rooms, then we'll fill up convention centers, and we'll fill up stadiums, and that's the way I've seen it happen in these conflagrations of network, of the network effect happening. Is just people getting together, shaking hands, hugs, high fives, all that kind of stuff. It just develops relationships and makes the bond stronger, and it conflagrates. It just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And when you got something like this, it's easy. Our product sells itself. It does what it's supposed to do. Richard hasn't failed one little bit. This little dip that we're seeing is market sentiment. It has nothing to do with the products themselves. So that's kind of the story. That's how I ended up, here where I'm at. And now we're just, trying to spread as much awareness as we can,
I like it. What would you say to some of the naysayers that say, you see it on Twitter, Richard has left us, there's, Pulsechain is dead. What would you say to those people?
Well, I got some harsh words for those people. You're a bunch of fucking pussies, because if you had any idea of what crypto was supposed to be and how it was supposed to be developed and how it was supposed to be marketed, you'd get up off of your ass and quit complaining and go do the work that needs necessary to make this thing happen. Because see, this isn't about putting billboards up or magazine ads or stickers on cars or television. None of that stuff is going to work in crypto. See, crypto needs a story to be told. We need to make this a movement. The people need to know what it's about and what it's for. Like, this is really how the revolution is going to be fought. I was talking about this last night. We're not going to take up arms against this nation and win. That's not how it works. They have drones and tanks and Marines. You don't get your neighborhoods together to go up against drones, tanks, and Marines. Does not work. That's not how this revolution is going to be fought. And it's not going to be televised. It's going to be streamed. And what are we going to do? We're going to have to use the tools that are available to us to take back the power that we, the people, are supposed to have. And how is that? Money. Money has to come back to the people. They've got the power because they control the levers of power through money. And the money system they created. We have to get the money back into the hands of the people. And that's all it is taking it out from the controlled interest. We have the same money. Our fake, like Richard says, our fake made up internet money is better than their fake made up internet money. They're both the same now. They're both the same. The banks control the servers that control the digits. That's it. The governments, or I should say, I don't like saying the governments. I should say the 1% in power that control the governments, they have control of the banks. And those are the people that control the servers that control the ones and zeros. All we're doing is algorithmically through code, we figured out that we can do it online better than they can do it in their system. And Richard has created the base of that with the Hex T-share, with the inflation model. He said, look, I can fix money right here. Boom, there it is for you. Modest inflation model. Awesome interest-bearing crypto. Does the thing that works best in finance, and that is the time value of money. Delayed gratification. Here it is. Go out and use it. And here's a blockchain to do it on. And here's a DEX to go out there and make things fun, exciting, and for you guys to go out and do more damage to one another. So it's there. The revolution's not going to be televised. It will be streamed, and we're going to have to take this out there in order to go up against them. That's how we're going to have to fight against them. And before, it sounded good with all the libertarians getting behind Bitcoin and saying, hey, this is how we can, take the power back and blah, 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 blah. Well, their narrative has always failed, and their cryptos have all failed. Look, Roger Ver, we have mutual friends, like the guy. He's actually been a Hex sympathizer, but that libertarian attitude of going at this thing hasn't worked, and it's like, we've got to figure out a way to take the system back, not try and wreck the system or circumvent the system. How do we take the system back and put it in the hands of the people? Because that's what we really want. This country's not wrecked. This country just needs to be taken back from the powers that be. And they say they're trying to make it a social issue. Like, oh, the social issue people have taken your country away. No, they haven't. The money's taken your country away. Citizens United has taken your country away. It has nothing to do with morals and values of human beings. Human morals have not changed any from the dawn of time. We've still got murderers, rapists, and thieves in the amounts that we've always had. Murderers, rapists, and thieves. Don't think that there's some moral issue going on here, people. They're doing that to divide you. We have a money and a power issue here, and that's what you have to go up against. And of course, they're going to use the social stuff to divide us so that we can't come together and figure this thing out and take a tool like crypto and go and take our power back. So that's the message I think that has to get out there. That's how we got to start talking. We all got to come together, forget all of this bullshit, because when I sit down with any human being, we agree on about 90% of the shit. I'm telling you, there's about 10% of our little dogma or little shit inside of us that we don't agree upon, but most of it we do. When you sit down with a real human being, it's like, yeah, you're right. We all agree on the same stuff, but they want to divide us with that 10% so that we don't come together and do something like this and take the banking systems down and take the, the power away from their governments and give it back to us. I don't know, man. I'm turning into becoming an old man, but I still got some fight in me, man.
I like it. I like it. So what would you, and I've been pondering this question a lot because I really like the idea of crypto being the way that we fix money. And Corey and I have really bought into that idea. But, you've been through a few tops and seen, the ups and the downs. What lessons have you learned from, seeing the market cycles and the way that they work? How do you think crypto can actually fix money when, like every 4 years, at least thus far, people get absolutely decimated in terms of value of their crypto?
Yeah. Well, no matter what I say, I'm not going to fix that. People are still going to get decimated. They're not going to listen to me.
Sure.
They haven't listened to me. Even this community, people that, supported me and stood next to me and fought with me while we were building Hex, the Hex community, didn't listen to me. And some of them were wrecked and gone and destroyed themselves.
In what respect? Like what would you say?
So you got to be patient. And when we say the best way to make money in crypto is to hold it as long as you can, that's the truth. And when we say, look, every 4 years there's a market cycle, and you can pull up the chart and look at the last 4 market cycles and show that they are identical up and to the right, identical and volatile in the middle. And that's those emotional volatile wiggles are where everybody gets wrecked, or the 1 or 2 people that actually make it get to go become big YouTube stars because they got lucky. And remember, broken clock is right twice a day, folks. And these trader guys out there are going to tell you that they crushed it, they killed it, they did this, and they make a big YouTube channel out of showing you what chart they traded on and how they made it. They were right because of broken clocks. The same situation, So stay away from all that. Stay away from the trading. Get into a crypto that's going to, show you what the time locking value of your money is. And that is Hex. Hex does that. Hex inflates like nothing else. It pays back in Hex like nothing else does, immutably through the contract code with you, no one else. You're the one that operates the code. That's the crypto we were looking for. And boom, there it is. And what is it done for me? Changed my whole life for generations. Period. End of story. Why? Because I believed in Hex. I knew what it was going to do. And I locked my money and I used the tools that were available to it. Did I go chasing shiny objects? No. Did I chase anything that was built on Hex? No. Did I, go all in on Pulsechain and dump my Hex bags for it? No. I keep telling people Richard Hart made Pulsechain to make Hex better. Hex is the GOAT. If Hex is better now, why is it not the most valuable crypto out there? Well, because people forget. People forget, and they still want to go chase.
And you're thinking the market hasn't caught up as far as dollar terms is concerned.
Oh yeah, way undervalued. Market hasn't caught up. We're skipping across the bottom right now. I mean, we saw the SEC FUD dip and it ran right back up to its support line, and so here we are again. We're at support, and all of crypto is a buzz right now. It's looking like we're coming out of this bear market and coming into the bull, and is that true? Not sure. As soon as everybody starts looking one way, it goes the other way. It's like, okay. So I always get worried. Now, even as I look at it and say, okay, weeks ago I started feeling like, oh, here it is, bottom's in. We're going to be coming out of this. And here, as we start to come out of it, and I start to hear everybody buzz about it, I go, oh boy. Here we go. Everyone's talking about it. Are we in for another dip? And that's why I kind of back off of saying, hey, we're in the bull market now. But all of the indicators are showing that we are coming out of this and lights at the end of the tunnel, and we're coming into the bull market. But I'm always cautious at that point. And I'm always very cautious and very conservative, especially because I have a voice, Look, I look at all the other projects. I watch what's going on. I watch what's being built on the Richard Hart ecosystem. And I don't have FUD for any of those things, but I'm always cautious of those things. I always tell people, hey, wait until Scooter shows you what he can do before you start investing in these things. Yes, I'm rooting for them because those tools are definitely needed in DeFi. And but some of them are dangerous. Some of them at this point have just been promises. So everybody's got to be careful and don't try and chase the shiny object to get, because here's what everybody wants in the Hex ecosystem. They want to grab a 250, 500x, 1000x shiny object, dump it and buy some Hex because they want that Hex. They do. They want Hex. They want it. I know that's what it is. They want a bigger bag of Hex, but they can't get it unless they can try and go out there and gamble their way into it. And I caution people on that strategy. I caution people on doing that. Some of you will, some of you won't. Some of you will get wrecked and never come back to crypto again. And I would say most are not going to make it. There's a handful of people that actually get lucky enough to, grab a shiny object, dump it at the top and get the bag of Hex that they want. I wouldn't do that. I'd start DCAing in now, especially at these prices, and getting that Hex and getting T shares right now, because T shares are absolutely rock bottom price if you're bringing dollars into this market right now, because the T shares never been cheaper. There was a time where T shares were 10 grand. They were up at the $10,000 mark, and now you can get them for what, 140 bucks, 200 bucks.
Right.
I mean, that's value right there, folks. That's value. Those T shares are making 6.5 Hex per day, 6.6 Hex per day right now, and going up. We proved the math on that a long time ago. Whales Only came into our stream and said, hey guys, all this shit you're talking about, these T-shares, let me show you guys something else. I just did the math on this because of the value of T-shares and because of the price of them going up and boom, 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 and the way things are going with the staking. These T-shares are going to be bringing in more Hex per day as time goes on. It's going to get higher and higher. And we said, how is that possible, man? How is that even possible? And we're looking at it, and he did all the math for us. And he's like, yeah, we were right. We were right. It is possible. And the math shows it. And guess what? We went from, 2-3 Hex per day. And now here we are at 6.6, 6.7. It just keeps going up and up and up. And so the value of the T-share right now is important, because here's the thing. You're making those 6.5 Hex, 6.6 Hex per day right now. What are they? On Ethereum, 0.003 cents, on Pulse, 0.008 cents. So that Hex that you get today in 5 years might be 3.50 cents. $5.30, $5.50.
So to be fair,
Hex.
Yeah, to be fair, Wells Only missed on so much stuff. So I like some of this. I mean, I think it's fair to, I think credit where credit is due. There's some stuff that he hit, and there were a ton of things that he missed. And I know because I was drinking the Kool-Aid back then, and it's interesting to to take a step back and learn from our experiences. And I love how I think you nailed it with the trading sentiment. In fact, there was the dude on Twitter, I think he was going by the name FOMO Sapien, and he had the Aria project.
He rugged everybody.
And it's interesting to like gauge sentiment and where your mind's at. And I remember him posting, he's like, oh, I've traded memes and 10x my Pulse bag since Pulsechain launched. And there's a small piece of me that's like, man, am I doing this wrong? And then you're like, and you're back to no, like I was fine. So like, do you feel like there will be enough users to soak up the inflation over time? Because the inflation model, it's interesting, and theoretically, as long as there's enough users to be able to soak it up and enough buyers to be able to push up the price, then we're good. Do you have any concerns with that? What are your thoughts there?
Oh, I got a great theory on that, and this might even fix it for you and help you to understand why that doesn't matter. But first of all, Wales, yeah, he would go on the line, put himself on the line, and do price predictions a lot, and I always think price predictions put people in trouble. But like I said, his mathematics of how the system works was infallible. He knew the math, and he helped us to understand T-shares and whatnot. So that's what I was getting at with that. As far as the predictions go, I stay away from it. And I think everybody should stay away from it. But
I agree 100%.
He bought into letting people talk about it and whatever. But anyway, so the inflation model. So the inflation model is what's really the global the tool that changes the globe's finances. Because of its modest inflation rate and because it's always delayed, whether it's a day or 5,555 days, that inflation is delayed. No inflation in the world gets delayed. Inflation comes out, it gets dumped on your head. That's how it works. Or it gets used to leverage more inflation to dump on your head through the banking system. And we know how that works. So with the Hex's modest 3.69 inflation rate and staker staking, and here's my theory on why that doesn't matter. And I see what you're saying. All this inflation is coming out. You got to continue to bring in more users to eat up that inflation. And how does that happen? So here's how it happens. First of all, we have this little thing called the OA. We all know what the OA is. And Hexicans, those of us who've been around from the beginning, those of us who understand Richard, those of us who have watched and hung on every word and how this thing was built and what it means, we know the OA is benevolent. We know that the OA is there to help the stakers and to help prop up the system and to exist as a pressure valve of some type. And it's already functioned that way one time during the big payday and actually protected investors from getting dumped on, actually protected investors from being ran on because everybody wanted a big payday, boom, boom, boom. And then the OA pulled the rug out from people that were going to try and one day stake and dump on our heads and wreck the price and all that, to the dismay of a lot of people who were holding a lot of T-shares. But it really worked. And there was an equal trade-off. We did get more Hex on big payday. We didn't get as much as some of us thought we were going to get. But that helped to keep the dumping from happening. And so it works. But anyway, so we have this thing called the OA and we have this thing called staking and the staking pool. That 3.69% goes to the staking pool. That is how much liquid Hex, circulating Hex exists out there, because the OA is technically liquid Hex. And it owns arguably somewhere between 85 to 95% of the Hex supply. Somewhere in there, just to keep it, real. That Hex stays in that bag. It helps create market cap. Also helps create the staking pool's percentages. Now, what that means is the amount of circulating Hex that's out there is somewhere probably around 3% of what's left. OA holding 90%, and then 7 to 9%, I think, is staked, somewhere around there, already staked. So those of us in that 9% are getting rewards like crazy. That's why we're making 38% APY. Those of us who were before big payday, we ended up somewhere around 51% APY because of the penalties and the big payday and all that kind of stuff. So 38% APY with the 9% staking. So let's just say there's 3% left that can actually stake from the circulating supply. So let's say they finally see the value in Hex. Institutional money finally sees the value in Hex, and that 3% gets gobbled up and thrown into the staking pool. Now we've got about 11-12% in there, right? So we got 12% in the staking pool. OA's got 80-something% of it, and it fixes the payout per T share at a percentage point. And that percentage point is by whatever's in there. So at about 11, you're probably talking 22 to 28% APY left in there for automatic. Can't go down anymore because the rest of it's in the OA. That's when Hex gets really, really interesting. Why? Because it disappears. And everybody's saying that, oh, P-Hex is better than E-Hex. What happens when all the P-Hex disappears? All that's left of this miraculous interest-producing crypto is in Ethereum. So what happens over there? That gets snatched up. Because what institution, think of just the insurance industry. The insurance industry is out there. There are guys every day waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning, shoveling down a freaking pot of coffee, trying to go out and make 3%. Eating freaking Pepto-Bismol and trying to freaking calm their stomach because they're trying to get 3%. Imagine if they could get 20-something% automatic through a code, immutable, set it up in time frames, and just rake it all in. Imagine that. Now, that would be small family shop type insurance companies at first because the big ones couldn't participate. But what if small companies started doing that, or investment shops of some type started doing that to pay out those types of plans and whatnot? That's the value, real value of Hex. And that's when Hex sees mass adoption. That's when the whole world gets a hold of Hex. And then you're going to have people standing in line on both Pulsechain and Ethereum to get your unstaked Hex. They will be in line with their dollars in their hand, waiting to pay you for your Hex that's coming out. That's when Richard used to say to us, he goes, you guys just do not get or understand how high Hex can go. You think that this 6 million X that Bitcoin did with the bullshit that it is was a big deal? Wait till you see what Hex can do. He used to say that to us all the time. And we were like, yeah. It's like a marketing thing. He's just talking out the side of his neck. Yeah. Okay. We believe you, Richard. We know it's cool and all, but easy with the how high it can go thing. That's what he's talking about. He knows that Hex is so rare and can become even rarer and is such a remarkable freaking interest-bearing tool that the world is going to want it. And when the world finds out about it, look, it's been running flawlessly for almost 4 years. There's no problem. Like literally institutions can go, fuck, that's the best crypto I've seen. I've never seen anything run for 4 years and do what it's doing. And when they find out what the stupid pirate's talking about and understands and has understood from the beginning, when they finally figure this out, that's when Hex goes ballistic. That's when we go parabolic. That's when the whole community changes their tune and everybody starts staking again. And 555 becomes a real thing again. Cuatro Cinco is what people are going to be doing. Can you imagine what institutions are going to be able to do with that? It's like a bond, right? It's like a bond. And it's even better than a bond. Why? Because it can't be manipulated by governments and politicians and banks. It's code, man.
I love that part.
That's a big deal.
It's a bond in a code. And that's why it's going to be so popular and so important. And they can't stop it either. You can't turn it off and go, oh, whoa, wait a second. That's better than anything we got. You can't have that. You can't destroy our markets with that thing. Sorry, too late. It's running. You can't stop Hex from doing what Hex does. And that's why I get so fired up about this thing, because this fixes money, it fixes people, fixes the world, fixes all of it. And it's already out. And all we got to do is just inform people about it, because it's going to happen. It's going to happen. I don't know when it's going to happen, but it's better money. It's going to fix it. And as soon as people understand and know what I know and others know, it's going to go parabolic.
It's interesting. How do you balance? So, okay, so of course we don't give any financial advice on this show. RG3, I'm sure, doesn't either. And so, with the different things that you talked about here, how what is your mindset when it comes to staking? I mean, if someone were to come to the ecosystem now, they said, gosh, I like what RG3 is talking about. I want to get involved, because you have a couple of things to balance, in my opinion. You could stake out 15 years or 10 years technically to get the best APY. But you have these 4-year cycles that at least up to this point have been undefeated. How might someone balance those two things to be able to create a staking ladder if they wanted to do so?
So in my opinion, first of all, staking is an individual investment opportunity. Every human being that gets into the tool of Hex needs to sit down with somebody who understands how to mitigate their situation. There's age differences. I'm 56. My situation is a lot different than a 20-year-old kid coming into the system right now.
Sure.
I have a different amount of capital that I can expend versus that person, or that person may have more than I do to expend. So deploy. So all of those things have to be taken in account. And I think that old school investment strategies, like Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger's philosophies, need to be taken into account here, because Hex is just an old school tool. It's a tool that like a CD. It hasn't been changed. Now it functions like a CD for the investor, but it also puts the investor in control of the system itself. And makes you part of the Federal Reserve, makes you part of the bank, makes you that it really takes all, like I said, takes it out of the hands of the banks and the governments and the moneyed interest and puts it in the hands of the user. So the user has to figure out what their position is first and how they want to invest. And they need to sit down with somebody who understands long-term investing and whether or not when their staking ladder needs to mature, or when their 15-year stakes need to mature, or do they use a tool like HSI to invest, or some of HSI's tools to invest versus standard staking. There's a lot of different tools available to the staker now, and everybody needs to sit down and either educate themselves and figure out what their situation is and how they're going to make their. I mean, in my situation, I was like, okay, my back is wrecked. I don't have any more years out in the field left where I made my real good money. What do I need? In 3 years, I need to turn this thing into retirement money. So in 3 years from now, a staking ladder is going to mature, and every month I'm going to have income coming out of it. Boom, boom, boom. Every quarter, I'm going to have a bigger stake come out just to give me a little bonus. I'm going to stake on my kids' birthdays, around college when I think they're going to college, Christmas time, an anniversary a year, a trip or two a year for the family. So I started staking what I called my event stakes. So I had my staking ladder set that thing up for 5 years, and it rolls. So my staking ladder just rolls. Every time I pull out the interest and I put back the principal, boom, 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 boom. 5 years, it just keeps going, never stops, perpetual. Then I created, before the HSI stakes came out, everyone was talking about Cuatro Cinco, 5-5-5-5, right? And I said, well, hey, instead of sticking a big hump out there, I'm going to start building a staking wall. I'm going to put a bunch of different 15-year stakes out. Because why? Here's what I know. In 7.5 years of Hex moving from 0.000056 cents or whatever it was to 7.5 years from then, what's going to happen? What if Hex is $350, 7.5 years? I get my principal back, but I have this big 15-year stake out there. Well, 7.5 years, that big old stake sitting out there, I'd have to wreck the whole thing. Well, what if I just put little blocks out there instead of a big, I call it my staking wall. So I set out little blocks of 15-year stakes, and maybe I might want to pull one of them blocks down because the value of it is so much, even just the principal of it going from micro pennies to $350, that's a big freaking jump. Just the principal alone. I don't care about the interest that I'm losing over the 7.5 years. I want the principal off that one block. Boom, wreck one. Emergency end stake it, because the tool's there to use. I have the tool. Boom, pull it down, and I don't have to wait 15 years. Being the old man that I am, here I am pushing 60. Some of you 25-year-olds, yeah, okay, keep your stakes out there for 15 years and keep going. That's fine. I don't have that kind of time. I might want to go on an extra trip, go on a yacht and spend time with a few of my friends and do a $250,000 vacation, So I built that, 15-year wall with blocks in it. And then HSIs came out and kind of changed the whole way that you can do that. Because now with HSIs, you can sell the stake if you don't want it, if you need the money, that kind of thing. So there's all kinds of tools, and I think everybody needs to figure out their own situation and go out there and stake accordingly.
Yeah, that's a fair take.
I would definitely say that the people, when they're figuring out their staking ladder and figuring out their events, even in their life, they want this money to come out to take in, because as of now that we know of, these market cycles are playing out. Even right now, it looks like we're playing out perfectly with the market cycle. And so, like, I would take that into consideration. And that's how I kind of built a lot of my is based around the market cycle versus like my birthday or my wife's birthday, or I want this hex coming out when we're at least a somewhat a top of a bull run. It might be the top, but it could be like within a few months. And that way, because if the hex is coming out when we're 95% down, I really don't have much use for it. I might just restake it. I might pull it out depending on how much it is and how much I've earned, but probably I'm going to end up restaking because I don't want to sell hex at the bottom. I just don't want to sell hex at a 95%, 98% dip. I only sell hex when we're ripping, right? When we're, and then the market can absorb it too. Like, if we're ripping and I'm selling, the market absorbs it a lot easier than if we're at the bottom. I would also encourage people to take at least that into consideration, the market cycles. Until it's broken, we don't know if it's going to break in the future. It could,
Mm-hmm.
but as of now, we don't know that. And so that's how I give the thought when I'm thinking about stakes. And I have a lot of stakes coming out this market cycle because I have no problem staking for 6 months, a year, or even monthly rolling stakes, especially on Pulsechain. You can roll your stakes monthly on Pulsechain. It costs no gas. It's great. And so I stake all those different methods.
Yep.
But yeah, it's something to take into consideration of market cycles for sure.
Yeah, and you pull these stakes out, or these stakes mature, and they sit in your wallet, and then of course the market, as it starts to move, exactly, that's what you want to do. You want to be dollar costing out and dollar costing in as the markets capitulate, and you can almost read them like a book, and it's selling what you need to sell on the way up into the bull market, and then standing by and, living off of what you've done, or if you still got a job, living off your job and just holding funds there for, guess what? The next bear market. Because when the next bear market comes, you'll have dry powder to DCA yourself back in again as they manipulate and move the markets. Because that's what this is. It's market manipulation. They programmed, the halvening wasn't part of Bitcoin. They programmed that into Bitcoin later on. And now we have this thing that falsely shoots the price of Bitcoin up. And all of crypto loves it. They love seeing, the names like BlackRock and JP Morgan, say they're going to come in and bring, $10 trillion to the marketplace. When in all actuality, that's what we've all been fighting against. But with thunderous applause, the Bitcoiners bring in the institutions and bring the money into the space. Hey, way to go there, maxis, as they call us, scammers, as they call us shitcoiners, as they call us the degenerates of crypto. In all actuality, we're the cypherpunks. We're the ones that are picking up the real vision. You guys, you maxis, you Bitcoin maxis, are the ones that are fucking this thing up. You guys are to blame for the lot that we're in. You guys are to blame for not adopting this. You guys are to blame for the SEC coming after us. You guys are to blame because you want this thing to come out. There he is. There he is. The Bitcoiner of the Hex crypto ecosystem, the Brissology. And you know what? What's great is that he proves my point, because he's got a big bag of Bitcoin. That's the only reason he likes it.
Sure.
He doesn't ever go out there and shill Bitcoin's tech or how awesome it is and what it's doing for society or what it could do to change money. No, he's got a big bag and he wants you guys to buy it so he could dump on your heads eventually.
Bitcoin.
And he will, guys. He will dump on your heads.
Yeah, I'm with Corey as far as staking sentiment goes. The cycle so far holding strong. In fact, I find it really remarkable. So I'd stake some hex pretty freaking near the top, and I could buy those T shares back tenfold for the same amount of money right now. And so I think there's a lot to be said about your timing, and like you said, RG3, about your goals and how you want to build that. I have a steak that comes out on my birthday every year, and I can't tell you how disappointing that steak is to look at. And
But if you don't touch it, it'll be
Rick
fine.
did it near the top, you know what I mean? And so just different takes on how to do that.
Yeah, I don't think enough influencers in the space, RG3, and I'm glad you talk about that, about addressing your goals and addressing where you're at in life as far as age is concerned, and money that is, that you have that's just disposable at the time. And not enough influence, especially the OG influencers, really touch on that. Like a lot of the guys in the space go, oh, you should stake 555 without any consideration to what a person's, where they're at in life. We hear it over and over again. So I love that you say that someone should take in consideration their age, for example. Like that's a very important factor when making these financial decisions. So that's a great thing. That I love it.
Yeah, more people should be talking like that, and giving people the understanding and the opportunity to make the decisions that are going to be best for them. It's one thing to talk general and market sentiment and what's going on and how how the crypto functions and what it can do for you. But then you've got to put that in a microcosm and say, okay, what does this mean to me personally? How does my financial situation fit into this? And I think everybody needs to think about that versus going, find a bunch of different people talking. If, like you said, if somebody's just saying, hey, you got to stake Cuatro Cinco, that's it. That's not feasible. I don't have a couple more 15-year stakes left in me. A 20-year-old kid has 4 or 5 stakes, 15-year stakes left in him. Okay, yeah, go ahead, stake everything you got for 15 years and walk away from it, not worry, and you'll be rich in 15 years and you'll only be 35 years old. At 56, man, my first Cuatro Cinco's up, it's like, well, what am I going to do? Stake for 5 or 10 years? Because I don't know if I'm going to make it to the freaking 10-year one, So
well, hopefully you do.
But yeah, of course. I'm doing everything I can to mitigate that, and stay healthy and lose weight and eat right. And, come on, longevity, let's go, Richard. Let's get this longevity thing going. But really, I have to think differently. And I have a lot of peers out here that are in their 60s and they're like, hey, what do I do? Like, dude, I don't want to stake for Cuatro Cinco, and it's like, yeah, I got a buddy, he's 65 years old and he invested and sacked and everything else. And he's like, I ain't staking that long. I need to stake, 5 years, 4 years, 3 years, and that's what he's doing. So yeah, it's a different situation for everybody. And I hope that everybody understands that they need to do their own research on their situation and listen to everybody's strategies and see which one fits in your plan. And that's it,
Hex is a tool. Richard Hart gave us this tool of a financial instrument that has all this wide degrees of like possibilities we can use inside the tool. It's up to you as the user to fit that best to your situation. And so like, that's why it really bothers me with the guys who are, 555, because they're trying to get everyone to stake 555. And I feel like some of them do it disingenuous, some of them, because they want exit liquidity. There are some of them out there that do that. And so it's just sad to see. But yeah, Hex is a beautiful financial product. It's, probably one of my favorites. It's hard because I talk about this all the time. I'm a Pulsechain guy. Like I love Pulse, and I'm stacking node validators like crazy. It's my favorite hobby, stacking node validators. But Hex is right there. Like sometimes I love Hex a little bit more, and sometimes I love Pulse a little more. But Pulse is like, I don't know. It's tough. It's really tough for me because I love them both.
Yeah. That the L1 situation to me is, there's so much potential for Pulsechain.
So much.
There's so many things that are already. I've never seen the excitement around building on it. I've never seen this on any other chain. When we went to we had our Pulsechain tour in Atlanta, our stop in Atlanta. There's a gentleman there, Marlon Williams, that created the Atlanta Blockchain Center, and he's created an incubation group that they build, and they are building on Pulsechain. Now they're agnostic, they're chain agnostic and whatnot, but they found that the best opportunity right now is to build on Pulsechain. So they're having all these incubators are all building their projects on Pulsechain right now. And what he does is he helps these guys build their products, market their products, and keeps them, locked down in incubation until they're ready to launch it, until they're ready to get it out there. So he's helping people do that. And and they've also got a company there that is making node validators and teaching people how to use nodes and how to use validators and what the benefits of those are. And it was really cool. And he's showing them how to build a business, and two young men in their, in their 20s that are trying to, get this thing up off the ground and moved, and really cool to see all the excitement. Like this whole thing was like kind of dedicated to building on Pulsechain. And it wasn't because they were maxis. Marlon, definitely he's a Hexican as far as he's invested in Hex, and he's invested in Pulsechain, he's invested in PulseHex. But they found that Pulsechain is really the L1 to be out there building on. And so that's why they're promoting it and they're using it. And it wasn't because, again, it wasn't because of you, Richard, and this, it was because they found it and said, man, this is a great L1 to be operating on. It's brand new. It's got all the functionality, boom, boom, boom. So it's cool to see all the excitement and how much people are wanting to build on it. So I think it's got a really bright future. I don't think that it has the X's in it that Hex has. I think that the Hex investment right now and where it's at, as far as an investment goes, is the GOAT, is going to be the crypto that freaking blows everybody away and what it does because of what I explained earlier. There's room, of course, for Pulse and PulseX, and there's going to be X's there too. But I think Hex is going to melt faces and amaze people. Amaze people at what it does.
Do you think we surpass all-time highs pretty easily this next cycle over the next few years?
I'm sorry, say it again.
Oh, I said, do you think we see all-time highs again? We surpass those pretty easily this next cycle? Sounds like you're in the camp. We blow those away.
Not financial.
All-time highs are inevitable when you have a product this good. Period. End of story. I'm sorry. When I say that Hex is better than Bitcoin, I know it. I've been sitting here looking at it for the last 4 years, watching it operate, watching it function, watching it do its thing, watching it not fail, watching Richard not scam out on it. I know that it functions better than Bitcoin. While they're trying to build the Rube Goldberg machine on top of Bitcoin, I mean, look, they're setting up dominoes and setting beads and swinging fucking hammers and all this other shit to make Bitcoin work. And that's not the way to move forward in technology. Continuing to bolt things onto the top of a VCR machine in order for it to stream audio is not how you build technology. It's the only tech in the world that is allowed to do this. Why? Because there's a bunch of people with big bags that want you to buy more of it, right, Brusology? And so that's what we got. And that's why we're stuck with this thing. Hex is better. Hex is going to go to all-time highs again. And in the next cycle, it'll do it again. It will continue to find all-time highs, just like Ethereum did, just like all of the other halfway decent cryptos did. They're going to keep getting better and better because the space ain't going anywhere, and the good cryptos will prevail. And we know Hex is the best crypto. So, debate me. Try and debate me, folks. You can't. It's never had an inflation bug. Bitcoin's had 2 of them. It's never had to have the chain rolled back. It's functioning proper. The only problem that Hex has ever had is Ethereum, and that's fixed now. So fight me. You can't. I win. Hex wins. So yes, all-time highs again. Yes, dip again. Yes, all-time highs again. Continue.
Right.
Cycles are coming, and that's what you're going to see. So
I always tell everyone that Pulsechain is a Trojan horse Hex. Where, before people were gatekeeping Hex, as Pulsechain, the layer 1 narrative expands and people keep building, I feel like it's the Trojan horse for Hex that can really send Hex to the moon. But at the same time, Pulsechain is a layer 1. Retail understands the layer 1 narrative a lot better. than the, store of value hex narrative. People have had a hard time consuming that. Now, smarter people who've dived deeper into the protocol understand it. But man, they're going to work so well together in the future as far as price performance. It's going to be amazing.
So, Richard, if you were with Hex from the beginning and you watched it and you watched the pain of us going through the big pump with Ethereum and the gas fees and the S load getting shit on because the S load prices went up higher than everything else. So basically looked like a tax on hexagons. Richard decided to build Pulsechain to fix it. And he even said it from the beginning. Hey, if this chain gets too ridiculous and we can't function on it, we'll fork it and do another chain.
Yeah.
And that's what he did. And he made Hex better by doing so. So obviously Pulsechain was made to improve Hex. I wanted to answer somebody in the chat room too, Connor. He said, RG, what have you learned coming from this cycle? A lot of OGs got stuck in the mania and didn't think Hex would be affected. We're decorrelated. How do you help prepare and so on? So how do you prepare the noobs? So what the OGs did, the ones that bought into this narrative, I never did, the decorrelation narrative, is that while we were moving, we were not moving in tandem with the market at times. Hex was pumping, and it was a lot due to how Richard was playing and toying with liquidity and how USDC was pegged to Hex. And we were seeing moves, and we were moving away from the market. Now, a rising tide raises all ships, but we were still kind of doing our own thing as the tide rise and as the tide fell. And what they forgot to tell everybody about, and what they forgot to reiterate, was that Richard said all of these things see 80 to 90% dips, including Hex. He said that. The decorrelation he was talking about was when he was talking about liquidity pegging and when he was teaching us the differences of what Hex was doing at the time, the dynamics. And we were moving freely against the market. We were still in the market, but we were moving freely against it, sailing on the seas and doing our own thing. But as the tide lowers, we also lowered because money's going out of the marketplace. So we are correlated to the whole market, but no, we are not correlated when it comes to the pegging of the different cryptos and the liquidity. So that's what he was talking about. I think that's not what's explained enough. All of these things can dip 90%, even our cryptos that we're in, Hex, Pulse, PulseX, they can all drop 90%. Be ready for that. Be prepared for that. Understand that that's what these big bear markets do to all cryptos. Now, when it comes to moving up, the changing tides, when Hex starts to really pump, when people start to see the value of it, we will decorrelate at time during the bull, but we'll all be in a bull market by that time. And we'll decorrelate and move according to what the Hex ecosystem is doing based on its pegs and where it's all pegged to, or where its liquidity is being tied to. So yeah, I didn't buy into that narrative or sell that narrative that we were decorrelated from the market itself. But I know some people might have been confused on that and listened to what Richard said and took it out of context and decided that, oh, Richard meant that the whole ecosystem couldn't go down when the market went down. And that's just one of the narratives also that the haters and the fudsters use to say, oh, look, you weren't decorrelated from the market, Richard, so. Anyway, that's how I saw it. That's how I understood the explanation, because I was always ready for the 90% dip. I knew it was coming. I didn't know it was going to be this deep and this long, and this fast. I thought we had some more up to go. So it caught me with my pants halfway down. I thought we were going to go to $1 before we started dipping. And, that was just my thoughts because of the way it was moving and riding. But, I was wrong. I never said it out loud, that's what I thought, but that's what I was thinking,
Sure. No, that's a good take. Give us your, we saw the documentary, you got your Pulsechain tour, maybe talk a little, or Hex tour, if I'm saying that correctly. Tell us about the tour and some of the lessons you've learned about onboarding, some of your best onboarding tips.
Yeah. So first the documentary, I'm really proud of what those guys did and the work that we put into it and the effort and the money and everything and what Kinetics did and Rackham and Toby and everybody who contributed to the movie. Really proud that the Hexicans stepped up and did what they did. It was just a real grassroots effort on the side of the community, because Richard didn't, commission it. It wasn't, it was all of us, Big K coming to the forefront and throwing his, hand in and his money in and saying, let's make this movie, and it's like, let's go, dude. And so it was really a grassroots thing, and nobody else in crypto's ever done anything like that. I've never seen I've seen these movies come out, about this guy scamming this thing and this guy's exchange scamming everybody and this guy getting murdered and this guy, going to prison for, selling drugs and wanting to kill people online. And, you see all that nefarious stuff. But when you get a real crypto documentary that's made by people that go, well, we want to tell all sides of the story on this thing. We want to see the dynamic community. We want to see the people that are against it. We want professionals to try and rip it apart. We want professionals in the crypto community to, give their take on it, and so they did, and they did a fabulous job of it. They did, they put it together in a way that, just, looks like any, A-rated film. They did a great job. And so proud of that. Glad it's out. Soon it'll be on a streaming service somewhere. And at that point, it's there forever, even though we're in a bear market. I had a lot of criticism from Hexicans saying, well, it didn't pump our bags when you guys launched that movie. And I'm like, and I got DMs, waste of your time and money, RG, on that stupid movie, and I'm like, really? Like, you guys, we're in the bottom of a bear market. And a handful of Hexicans saw the movie. That was it. That's who got to see the movie at the premieres and the theatrical release was Hexicans. These are people that already are in, that already know. The movie wasn't made to make you buy more. The movie was made so that everybody can ask questions and dig into it. People were asking, well, why didn't you explain the OA better? It just made everybody question the OA. And I'm like, that's what we want them to do. We want the OA to be questioned. We want the professionals to question the OA and go do the research, because then they'll find out what it really is. And it'll be explained by other people other than us. I've been spitting out a spleen for almost 4 years trying to tell you what the OA is, and you ain't listened to me yet. Ain't nobody out there going to listen to me. The true cryptopians out there aren't going to believe the old pirate. They want to hear it from their experts, from their legal folks, from their people with PhDs and doctorates behind their names. That's what they want to hear it from, not from me. They've been hearing me talk about it, and they still think it's a scam. They still think it's Richard's exit liquidity and how he's going to scam the whole thing out. So, the movie was made so that people can come to their own conclusions and make decisions on their own. And it wasn't a puff piece. It was exactly who we are, what Richard's done, who he was at the time. And yeah, that's what it was. So it's going to be there forever. So when in the bull market, when people are looking for a crypto movie, they're going to see the highest of stakes and they're going to get to watch it. And they're going to be interested in what's going on in the Hex community. So I'm proud of what we did. I think it's a great tool. Eventually in the future, it'll be working in our favor. Right now, it's just sitting on the shelf, and we'll see how it does. But after that, you asked about the Pulsechain tour. The Pulsechain tour is my way of getting out into the community, shaking hands, giving hugs and high fives, and showing people who we really are from the heart. Because I think that we have to make that connection with people, eye to eye, mano a mano. It's one thing to hear me sit here in 2D and tell you guys a story and tell you guys how enthusiastic I am about all this. It's another thing to sit in front of me and look me in the eye and hear what I have to say from my heart, because I bring it. I bring it to people with passion. I bring it to people with truth, integrity. Every bone in my body believes in this thing. Every bone in my body wants to give back to this thing and give it to other people, not to pump my bags. My bag pumping is a byproduct of me helping other people. And if I go out and help enough people and show enough people what this is and help to get their value out of the fiat system and into this system, which fixes the money and takes the power back, then that's what I'm going to do. And my bags will pump because of that, and not because I'm out there trying to be a hype man. I'm really coming to people with a solution. And that's why it comes across so powerfully. And I want to teach people how to do that also, so that they can tell their people and their people's people, hey man, you guys got to get this. You got to understand this. This is what it really is about. Because once you have that connection with somebody, then they really understand. Like if you read about Hex crypto, you're going to absorb just a little bit of it. If you watch it on a YouTube video, you're going to absorb a little bit more. But when you're in the presence of somebody who really believes in it and is telling you the story with inflection and a look in their eye and a connection with two human beings, it changes the whole thing. It changes the whole story. It brings it to you in a different way. And that's what we need to do. And that's, this IRL thing that we got to add to this. It's got to be added. And I think we got to fill stadiums up in order to really get it to pump out.
And there's a lot to be said about that. I mean, you look at other organizations, or you look at crypto. Like Corey and I are here because we like the community. If we were here just for price action, we'd have left long ago during the bear market. And you see, like, that's when community is what makes it sticky, in my opinion. You see it in, like, I think of churches, for instance. Like, churches are the same thing. You still have a lot of people that believe and follow in an organization, even when issues arise, and that's because of community. So there's a lot to be said about building it here. And there's so many little niches and places you can find your people, and it's cool to be able to have the opportunity for people to hear from you, to be able to bring them into the ecosystem, to hear the passion. That's one of the things that frankly we really like about you, is your passion, your commitment. Like, you can feel it when we talk to you, and it's impressive.
Yeah, because I'm convicted, and I'm convicted to this Pulsechain tour. I want it to fill stadiums eventually. And if you go to pulsechaintour.com, we're going to be in Miami next weekend. So anybody in the Miami area, come hang out with us. There's different tickets that you can get. You can come just see the event and see the speakers that are going to be there, and myself. We also have a mixer. You can hang out and have a couple of drinks before and after to talk mano y mano, talk about some of your strategies maybe that you've got. We can help you kind of with yours, and there's people there to talk to. And then we have a VIP event, which is, hey, a few people, we go and we have a real nice dinner, sit down, and, we get into it and really go in depth and have a conversation with each other. So go to pulsechaintour.com and get your tickets for Miami next week. And then I think we're going to Dallas for a meetup and hangout party with CZ. So that's going to be off the chain. So if you're in Dallas area, get to CZ's party, as everybody knows that she is the hostess with the mostest. And then Austin is right after that. We'll be in Austin at the Pulsechain tour. So the tickets are on sale for that. And then off to Phoenix. We'll be in Phoenix.
My hometown.
Really shortly out. Yeah, man. When I get out there, we'll go hang and go to Scottsdale.
Love it.
That's my place. I love going to Scottsdale. The food out there is just like, you get the best everywhere. And my friend Ken McElroy, when I go out there, we usually hang out and go have some dinner or something. I'm gonna hook up with Ken when I get out there.
Very cool. And Sprack, before we jump off, Sprack asked a great question. Yeah, what's your take on the value of Hex being divided into 4, and really a lot of different things? A lot of people were, pulling money from the community to do different things. That's neither here nor there. It just is. What are your general thoughts about Hex getting divided?
Well, we've always had this problem. We've always had this dynamic within the ecosystem from day one, when we had Trayvon shilling his Hourglass games, to the scams with the shrimps and the Wise and all the other shit that came out to try and circumvent this strong community. Because this community, my goodness, this community has put almost $750,000 into a NASCAR, or $1 million into a movie. And this community is very dedicated to helping to grow the ecosystem. So it's been easy for people to snipe, value out of the ecosystem. We knew that once Richard split the value of everything, that's what was going to happen. That value was going to be divided. And so the value of the ecosystem has grown. It's just been divided. And as time goes on, we'll see consolidations into the more core products. But it's going to take time. Crypto's new in and of itself. The Hex ecosystem is extremely new. And now with the forking of Ethereum with Pulsechain, Pulsex, and all of these other perpetuals and ancillaries that are involved here, we're going to see even more delusion. And it's going to take time, and the bull market is going to help bring that back. So it's not surprising to me that we will see a delusion of the prices going up. I think that Hex is going to be the winner, in my opinion, in the bull market. But you're going to see, diversification of value. And hopefully this next bull market is going to be so big. We're going to see that 10 trillion that you'll see a lot of value coming in, because, hey, the Bitcoiners are cheering it on, man. So I'm sure that, they're going to get their money into this system. So stand by, everybody. Big influx of cash coming soon your way.
That's right. Let's do it. Well, that was awesome. Anything you want to touch on, Corey, or RG3 parting words before we jump in?
No, this was great, man. Thank you so much for hopping on today and giving us your origin story. That was the first time I heard it, and giving it, we appreciate everything you're doing with the community out there, man. I mean, you're just out there beating the drum so hard, going to all these different cities, still doing your shows, going on everyone else's show. This is incredible, Captain. So we thank you very much and appreciate it.
It's time to do the work, guys. It's like the bottom of the bear market. It's one thing to take a break, and everybody needs a break, and everybody deserves a break. And it's one thing to slow down in the bear market and whatnot. But once you hit the bottom, and once you see the signs of it waking back up, it's time for all of us to get off of our dead asses and get to work. It's like, this is the time right now to start rallying. If we get strong, if we get together, if we get, a one united front on this RH ecosystem, and we go out there and punch crypto in the face, I mean, we will be the ones standing tall when the bull market is in full swing. The people will be listening to us, because all the other ones have fooled everybody. They've lied, they've cheated, they've swindled their way through, and they're coming back. They're getting ready to do it again.
Yeah.
You can see the drama starting. They're trying to become relevant again, but we have to be louder because we've got the right answer. We won, and we deserve to get out there and be the ones who are helping direct people in the right direction in crypto, taking them to DeFi and not selling this bullshit centralized crap that they're going to try and shove down your throats. Don't believe it, guys. Don't believe it. We're part of the revolution. The revolution is not going to be televised. It is going to be streamed, and it's going to be streamed here through the RH ecosystem DeFi protocols.
With that, that's a great way to end. Catch us later this week, you guys. We appreciate RG3. We've got some killer streams coming up with some economists, some other investors. You're not going to want to miss out. So smash the like, subscribe, all that stuff on the way out. We're here to pump everybody's bag and join in the revolution. So catch us later, guys. Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Peace.